Hey guys, it is currently 8:50 p.m. on September 8th, and admittedly not a great day for me so far, but I still have some stuff to do for Man of Darkness and for writing and formatting and all of that, so I'm going to jump into it. I designed the chapter headers this morning, and I did record a little bit of a time lapse for you. I couldn't do too much of one just because my app crashes more if I do time lapses, which sucks, but do what I can. And then I took a few screenshots to walk you through some of the things, but that will play after this video so you can see it. And after you watch that time lapse, then we will jump into putting those that thing into Designer or Canva. You can use either or. I use Designer primarily because of the PNG option, which Canva does have as well. I don't know if it used to, but I have had issues in the past with the images not looking quite as clear on Canva, so I just use Designer primarily for book formatting stuff. So I'm going to show you the time lapse, and then we'll get into formatting on Designer, and we will go from there.
Alrighty, so this is the best time lapse I could get from my phone, but this is nothing too fancy, so it's okay. This is just the initial image that I did for the Man of Darkness cover. I went ahead and redesigned it, drew out the end a little bit, redid the highlights, redid the shadows, and then after this time lapse is over, I made some more adjustments to the contrast and the brightness and whatnot, but we'll go over that in a second. With the image drawn, I went ahead and grayscaled it on my art app, and that just makes it look like this. Again, nothing too fancy. And then after that was done, I went ahead and readjusted the brightness and the contrast to the rough settings down there, and then that is the final image that will go into the chapter headers of the book. Alrighty, so I already have the Word document open here, and we're going to skip over all of this stuff today and start with these, the chapter headers. So I'm going to go back to Chrome, and for me, I use Designer, so I'm going to go ahead and open that up. Things have been very slow on the desktop today, so I'll cut out as much of the loading time for you guys as I possibly can, because it's been very, very slow. So much like Canva, Designer has a paid version and a free version. I use the free version. Alrighty. There's a weird audio glitch in this next part that I cut out so you didn't have to listen to it, but basically the only thing that you missed was that I had already pre-designed the chapter headers to see if I had liked it, and I did, so you just get to see it here. And then I go ahead and give you the dimensions of it and continue from there. Which is 4 inches wide by 2 inches tall. I decided 4 inches wide was the best way to go. Based on the size of the pages, minus the gutter, minus the inside and outside margins, and then 4 inches was about where I ended up on those calculations. So that's what I went with when it came to the width, so that way it would fit on the page. And then if I need to make a couple more adjustments once it's in Word, it's not the end of the world. I can make it a couple centimeters smaller or something like that once it's actually in Word. Alrighty, so this is what we're looking at. When I do these now, I make sure to start with the biggest chapter number, which is 20. So that way you know how far away these need to be placed and still have room, or else you'll have to start moving stuff around when you get to the bigger chapters if you start with like chapter 1, because it will be in a different place. I learned that the hard way with Ashes in the Light, and then I had to remake a ton of my header sizes. But initially, this thing, it is a crack in the wall, in the sky, whatever. It appears every time that Miles reaps a soul, and it is how they move on to the afterlife. In the book, it is pink. It looks like this. Or at least, sort of. This is what it looks like on the cover, which at this point you haven't seen in this series. Depending on when this video gets uploaded, you may have already seen it in a cover reveal. I don't know, it depends on when I get around to editing. But on the cover, it's like this part here up through like here-ish. So for the chapter headers, because I print in black and white, I redesigned it. I redesigned where the shadow fell, And then I upped the contrast and stuff, which you saw in the clips before this, and made it here. And then I made it bigger to fit here, nice and neat on the side. And then we fit the chapters in there, nice and also neat. But I'm gonna go through and make all of these. Some of them will have dates on them, like this one. So it will also have Sunday, September 4th, 2016 down here at the bottom, and it will probably be pushed up a bit. So I'm going to do the ones without dates, or yeah, without dates first. Export all of those to my downloads here. And then I'll go through and do the ones with dates, and we'll go from there, and I'll see you in a few. Alright, so like I said, things are very slow today. I can't, I'm just not having much luck here. But I have this moved over just a smidge, because I centered the thing when it was on chapter 20, right after I stopped recording, and I prefer that it looks centered, and if it will ever get off of this, there we go, I was going to see what it would look like if I ended up moving this for every header, or if I moved these over to reach it every time, and we centered the headers rather than them being here in the center. If we centered them on this side, so that way that light was always on that side, because that's where it is on the cover. And then we would just move the chapter header closer to it each time. So that way, I think this is centered. Yes, it is. So I would move this over, potentially. Oh dear. It's so slow. I'm so sorry, guys. It's normally not this slow, but sometimes depending on how quickly you turn on the computer, it's just unbearable. But, there, stay there. Damn it. Oh god. Okay, I'm gonna do this on my phone, and then I'll open it back up here and show it to you. That's the only way I can think to do this. Alright, so this is what we ended up with. This is what I was going for. This is centered on this line, the horizontal line, and I want it close to this, and I want all of them to be about this close to it. So because it's going to take forever on the desktop, initially I considered time-lapsing it for you, but oh my god. I'm going to go ahead and do all of them on my phone, because I have the app on my phone, and as long as it's not open on the desktop, I can do it on my phone instead. So I'm going to do all of them on my phone, all 20 chapters, the prologue and the epilogue, save them to my phone, upload them to Google Photos, download them onto the desktop from Google Photos, and then I'll be back with you sometime after that. Alrighty, so I have gotten everything off of my phone, off of Designer. It's all been downloaded to the computer here, and I'm ready to go. So this is the prologue. For reference, this is where prologue was beforehand. So I'm going to delete that, and then make sure that this is up a notch, so that way there's no other line before this. I want it to be completely flush with the edge there. And then I'm going to go ahead and insert a picture. And we're going to put the prologue in here. And then text wrapping, I'm going to go with tight, but you can do pretty much any of these. Top and bottom works really well, and square usually works. But I found with Ashes in the Light, having it set on tight rather than square worked much better. So that's what I'm going with here, but find what works best for your book and the way that the word's set. So I'm going to put it up here, I think, because I don't know if I want it down there. Actually, give me a second. I'm going to look at these two options and see if I want it in the middle or the front or the top, and then I'll be back. Alrighty, so though I don't hate the way this looks, I think I still just prefer it at the top, just as like a personal thing, but you can, as per usual, do whatever you want. So we're going to move that back up here, and we're going to take these guys back up here, Is that the only space? Yep. Okay, so I like the way that looks, and later I might remove this one and put everything into new sections. So that way there's not a number up there, but we'll see. So I'm going to go through the rest of these, and if everything goes well, it will be a time lapse for you guys of just going through and changing the other 21 chapter headers. But I am going to do that, and hopefully things go well, and hopefully the editing app that I'm using right now works enough to give you a time lapse. If not, I'll see you when it's done. Alrighty, since it is officially past 11, that is all I'm going to do today. I generally leave the desktop at 11 because the desktop is in my mom's room and I like to make sure that she can sleep. So that is all that I'm going to do for formatting today. Tomorrow we'll move on to day 3 of formatting. Normally takes me a couple days, that's okay. I am looking for the next thing I'm going to do. Here it is. These 3 asterisks are my scene breaks when I'm writing drafts, and for this draft, much like Cut to the Kill and Ashes in the Light, they will be replaced with pictures. In this book, the asterisks will be replaced with Miles's Reaper Blade, which I drew a very long time ago, potentially last year sometime, I think. So yeah, that is the plan, to do that tomorrow, and then we'll go from there, see if I want to remove these on the title pages of the chapters. This is going to wait until the cover is designed, which will happen after this is edited again. These will do tomorrow, hopefully. This will do tomorrow. And that's the only things we have to do. And then it can be exported into a PDF. Oh, and then the stuff at the end, like the QR code and all that stuff that I do, but you don't have to. It's just what I do for my books. So that is all I have for today. And I have some writing to do, and I will see you guys tomorrow.